This segment of DelmarvaLife is brought to you by TidalHealth.
Fighting cancer is tough. Although cancer therapies continue to provide improved survival and cancer outcomes, many cancer treatments can also potentially cause adverse effects on the heart during or after treatment.
And guess what? There is fortunately a specialty at TidalHealth addressing those very effects. Dr. Renee Damaris is a cardiology specialist with TidalHealth. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let me begin with a very basic question here. What is cardio-oncology?
There's many definitions for cardio-oncology, but it's best to define it broadly. We simply are trying to protect the heart from the therapies that are given for cancer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I imagine that involves working with the oncologists at TidalHealth. You guys work together?
Yes, we've been working together on developing this program so that, first of all, we want to make sure the patients are comfortable with it, and then we want to have a good process to get patients into the pipeline so that they get taken care of early in their cancer treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then chemotherapy affects the heart muscle.
So chemotherapy, antineoplastic therapy, whatever you like to call it, it can affect all parts of the heart. The one we get worried about the most, by and large, is how well the heart squeezes.
Mm.
And is that something you check during a person's treatment during chemotherapy?
Yeah, so historically we've checked the function of the heart muscle with chemotherapy for many years, for decades really, and that would check the ejection fraction. The ejection fraction is the percentage of blood the heart pumps out every time it squeezes.
Okay.
In the past, all we could do really was monitor the ejection fraction, hope it didn't get bad, and if it did, stop the treatment, and then try to improve the heart muscle function so that the cancer doctors continue to do their job. Now we have better technology that allows us to predict when someone might get into trouble with their treatment.
So, and I'm trying to remember, we've talked to several doctors, and one of the most important things has always been a baseline before you start treatment. Can you do that?
Yes, absolutely. That's the ideal situation. So we sometimes get in a situation where patients really need chemotherapy very urgently.
Mm-hmm.
And so we coordinate with the oncologist to get patients in for testing as soon as possible. We have that mechanism set up for urgent appointments, urgent testing, and urgent visits.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's very important to get it early because we know that if you don't get it early, then outcomes are much worse.
Yeah.
With this new coordinated service, what are you bringing to the care of the cancer patient that the patients might not have had before?
As I said, in the past with echocardiography, we were able to measure ejection fraction. But ejection fraction doesn't start to get worse, and people don't get into danger sometimes until it's too late. Now with echocardiography, we have a new technology called GLS. GLS is basically a warning sign. If the GLS is abnormal, even though the ejection fraction can be normal, that means the patient might be in danger of having the heart muscle weaken and then have to stop chemotherapy, and their outcomes get worse.
I had absolutely no clue.
No, I did not.
No, so how can we make sure our doctors are talking to each other?
Fortunately, at TidalHealth, we're all on the same electronic health record.
Okay.
So if it's one of the cancer doctors that I need to talk to, it's easy to communicate either through electronic means, and I'm sort of old-fashioned, I still pick up the telephone.
Right.
I think that's still the best way to do it. So, you know, I have all the cancer doctors on speed dial, basically.
Yeah.
And so, because as I said, this is an urgent issue.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone might come see one of the cancer doctors, and they need to start chemotherapy right away. And so we need to get them in right away. Now, we don't have to get the echocardiogram before they start chemotherapy.
Okay.
We want to get very early in their treatment.
Okay.
So as long as we get it very early, then we're in good shape.
So we had not heard about, cardiology meeting oncology, and I'm sure there's people out there watching who may have had treatment in the past, maybe they're getting ready to do treatment. This is not something they should panic about, right?
That's correct. I want to emphasize that most patients will not have problems with their heart from cancer treatment, but there are a percentage that will. No more than a quarter, but for those people it's crucial that we get them early.
Yeah.
We don't know who those people are. And then also there's patients out there who've had cancer treatment maybe decades ago that could still have problems now that could arise because of it. So we want to just make sure that they're aware as well that first of all it's not necessarily horribly toxic, but there's also stuff that could occur long-term that they might want to contact us about.
Never hurts to ask.
Correct. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Damaris, for coming in today.
Thanks very much for having me.